Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another episode of our Schulering Hub podcast talking hospitality. And today I have the general manager of the greenest hotel in Prague, Tomas Nesvorny. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me.
Tell us a little bit about the Botanique Hotel because it's on the news here at the greenest hotel in Prague, and that's how I got really interested in learning a little bit more about. So how did this concept came about, please?
It's actually a long story, but to make a long story short, when our contract with the management company here was coming to an end, the owners wanted to take the property independent, and we started to look for a name and a brand for the hotel. And as our owners are actually Indonesian, they come from country of Indonesia, and they run quite a few hotels within a core, as well as some independent properties that we help them manage here from Prague. They basically were looking at the hotel as just rebrand it, name it Hotel Prague, and that's it. And I've always said, look, it doesn't make sense. We need to find the hotel a brand. We need to put a story behind the hotel. Now, imagine this was built as a, with all respect said, Juries in Hotels standard design somewhere back in 2009. So a very big challenge. And this whole story actually also evolved for us around the fact that we are ready to build an extension for the hotel. We own the land here behind us in Prague 8, and we actually have a building permit and a project ready to be built. What we don't have right now is 100% of the financing. So we are waiting a little bit now what's going to happen. So, but having that in mind, creating a brand and rebranding from a UK hotel chain, we also knew that we're going to build. So we already had the design of the new building in mind. And together with that, the wrap up was supposed to be that we will actually renovate the entire property with the extension building. So we somehow got to this idea of green, and I do have to say very honestly, back then the word green didn't really mean what green means today, because we originally based the idea about greenery, about a garden, around natural materials, around wood, and this is how we created. Slowly we got to create that whole design. And then somehow we were looking at that idea, trying to package it up, and this is where one very smart company helped us with the name, Botanique, and out of sudden we had a hotel that's meant to be green in terms of the nature part. So what we like to call ourselves is that we are a modern hotel inspired by nature. But in the meantime, this whole trend and movement of sustainability has got into the world. So somehow we were standing in front of a great idea of, starting about being green, and then said, okay, can we move this farther up into the sustainability part? And we still like to wrap it around the nature part. I do not think that we can honestly say we are the greenest hotel in Prague, because this building is not new, meaning that, we don't filter sewage water, for example, because it cannot be installed here. But we really try to do a lot of different small initiatives that we believe that built our brand, that evolved around being cautious to the nature, let's say, that evolve around, not wasting materials, that evolve around looking at the simple things from recycling to packaging to giving guests really the choice of what they want to spend when they are in the hotel. And somehow this whole idea has packaged itself up. We managed to market it, I think, fairly well at this point. And having said that, the trend in the world that has caught up to us, and we have got up to the trend in another way said, is really helping us to bring a guest experience that still, we are still a hotel, let's be honest about that. But that we can actually say, we do something more than our competition. And this is where we really try to see our entire competitive advantage. And when we look at our results, if we measure it by, STR, for example, as a simple measurement of a benchmark is that, we really see that the concept for us, it's working in terms of that we really can pull somewhere around 20% better revenue generation index within the market and our comp set. So we can honestly say that this idea really works. So I think this is how we really see that working, spending the time, working with the brand, having that independent mindset, because we are not part of any chain. We make a very decent profit, and the owners understand that letting us do what we do actually brings results. So at the end of the day, it's this circle of, having the independence from the owners, having enough money for the investment. On the other hand, that actually makes enough money to pay for that investment. And we like to really think now, can we multiply this idea either in Asia or here in Europe? So we are looking for, let's put it out to the world. We are looking for opportunities. We know the market is saturated. There are many groups trying to do the same, but we believe we have an idea that we can easily copy paste into anywhere, really, in some form. And hopefully we can be more successful with not only one hotel in the future.
That's great, because starting from a marketing point of view that wasn't related to sustainability, to then switch quickly on to the reality of what the industry is going through, and being able to get on that boat and actually starting walk the talk and make that happen inside the hotel to a level of taking it further and turning into a concept of a new brand. It's a fantastic work. Well done, Tomas. It's amazing to see.
Well, now, the truth is we are really not done yet. We to be really honest, in terms of the business, this whole idea of the business, how we run it was really, we created the little pieces behind the product, and they keep evolving, right? I think we can say this is never done. And I think in today's world, the time is so fast, the world is so fast, things are changing, I think, faster than ever. And I think when you feel that you're done with something, you realize it's old and everybody else has started to do it. So you move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Certainly this will have some sort of a ceiling somewhere. And what I like to say is that in the sustainability part of the product, I don't think for us it's only about sustainability. I think what I try to say and what I try to tell the guests and the teams is that, as I take my own personal experience from traveling, and I see truly from really expensive Hyatt resorts in the Caribbean to smaller hotels that we run in Asia to hotels that we run with, let's say, Accor brands, I do have to say I'm a little bit more of a luxurious guest myself in this world. But I always like to take all that experience, what I see, what's happening around me, and then, say, are there things that I can take over from other hotels that we can implement here? And I don't think, I like to call this hotel is really designed by people who travel for people who travel. So let's say we have done, as an example, we have done a room renovations program. We are almost done. We only have out of 214 rooms, we now have only about 36 left. And we always do it in the winter, so we do not have to displace that much of revenue. And we're going to finish it next year. But really, when we looked at redesigning the room, because it's still a box, I mean, let's be honest, this rooms that we have, like in most hotels that are built in the cities, and especially on the old continent, like the rooms are boxes, literally. So how can you redesign that box to bring a little bit of the nature in it, but still, think about all the things that the guests really care about. So from, if you design the bathroom, have you done it smartly enough that you do not have the guest taking a shower splashing water into the bathroom? I think this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Sometimes I don't understand how people design the rooms, because this is really like what you see in so many hotels. So and there are little things like this example is like what the guest does when they enter the room, what they touch. Do they touch the switch of the lights here? One of the other things I always laugh about is how some hotels try to make this lighting in the rooms so fancy. How many times have you yourself got to the room and you have spent 10 minutes trying to switch something on and off? Why? Let's make it simple. A couple of switches, make that ambience right, done. So little things like this that when we do the guest journey in the room, that we try to implement in the product. So not only we look at the sustainability part, but we are still a hotel that serves people from around the world who travel. I think this was a slogan of Scandinavian Airlines some time ago, which was called something like "We are travelers." So basically, that whole idea of we design the airline, or in this case, the hotel, for travelers because we are all travelers. So I think for us, really, there are the product parts that are still the same hotel problems and issues and things that people do when they run hotels, and then adding a little more of the sustainability piece to that.
That's pretty cool, actually, to see the challenges that it can go around in mixing up that experience with your branding. And just if I can have one last question, I would ask, what is the biggest challenge you face when trying to implement that sustainability into the branding when we come here in Europe? Because I know that each part of the world is a little bit different.
I would say that it's the mindset of the teams, because everybody is different. I think some people by nature care more about the nature, some people care less, and it is about really to implement the simple things like, we do not use plastic straws. Like, we haven't done that for 5 years, even before this was a law in the EU. So, these are the simple things to do. But then actually it's the little things like, when you have 350 covers for breakfast, that you have to separate the waste, and you have some manpower there. And is this manpower able to really do that properly? Not because they have to, but actually because they feel it's right and they care. So I think our team ourselves have now in the past couple months really talked about, do we walk the talk? Do we really understand why we do it? Is it effective? Because at the end of the day, we are still a business, and I think there's so many businesses that talk about sustainability. And to be honest, sustainability is not free. Some of the things actually cost money, not in terms of the materials that you will use and buy to have those more sustainable, but sometimes it's more about the manpower behind it, because we find out that to do it properly, actually it costs more money. So we really ask ourselves, do we really walk the talk? Do we really understand why we do it? One, because it's our branding and it's our product, and second is because we mean it. And we really said with the executive team that it's a journey that we have embarked on. We like to call it a journey. We know it's taking us somewhere. The world is adjusting around us as we adjust ourselves. And we have to run with it and keep doing things that we find that make sense, and implement them as we go. And if some things don't work, we don't do them anymore, or we change them. And the fun part of all of this is that we are a bunch of people that can do that because we believe in it, first of all, and second of all is because we have that independence. We don't have to ask anyone. We are not in an approval process of a hotel chain that spends months and months asking themselves if they use this sort of product, because still we have one location at this point, so that is obviously simple. So I would say, really, to answer that question shortly, it's about believing that what we do makes sense, and really it's a journey. To be honest, we are not done with everything. I'm sure that you would find things here still that can be improved, and we just run with it.
I believe that nobody's alone in this journey, and it is a journey. There are a lot of people doing great things around, some foundations also helping, and we are here. If you need also some connections with someone to help with your stuff, we can be in touch. But Tomas, thank you very much. How can people that want to work with you or want to come to the hotel, how can they find you and talk to you?
For sure, people can find me on LinkedIn. People can look at our website, hotelbotanique.com. In the About Us section, they can find like the different product things that we do. And as that adjusts and evolves, that keeps growing and growing. I think we have now a few projects. Well, I wouldn't really call them projects, but let's say, to give you an example of what we are working on right now, it's always so, it's always so cool when people say, oh my God, you can have bees on the roof of your building or hotel or whatever business you run. Well, it sounds very simple, but then when you really open that idea, it's not that simple to make it work, because I never knew that there's so many different things to bees. The location where they are, there has to be some sort of a greenery or park where they feed, and if it's not there, it doesn't make sense to do it. So we really got, for example, in this, idea of, can we really do that? No. So can we go around a different way? And we found that our chef, actually, he lives in the countryside, and he is a guy who is actually, I'm not sure if beekeeper is the right word in English for it. Yep. And can we support him? And can we take the honey from somewhere outside to get around that? So that's, for example, one small thing that we are working on right now. We have just finished to do, for example, sustainable, well, I'm sure they're 100% sustainable, but we finished like brand new name tags that are made out of plywood is the right word for it. And they are a little more sustainable. And we constantly work now on, let's say, the buffet in the restaurant, where we say, are there any one-time use plastics, for example, that we do not need to use? And sometimes the guests actually point out to that. Part of that decision process also is we are still a hotel serving international guests, so some things and hygiene levels just have to be there. So sometimes it's difficult to choose, but there's always things that you can do. And it can be as little as that. That everybody can contribute to that sort of an idea.
Tomas, it was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope that your journey continues to be successful.
Well, thank you as well for the invitation, and
so bye, Schulering.